Today's subject is feminism and equality. Let's look at the word equality. In the hypnosis, it is the ultimate goal. And in the blueprint, it is a trap. Because equality requires a standard. So ask yourself, equality to what? For more than a century, that standard has been the distorted masculine. When you fight for equality, you are subconsciously saying, I want to be exactly like the system I'm fighting. You are trading your unique, coherent frequency for a seat at the table that is built by someone else's hypnosis. The feminine doesn't want to be equal. It wants to be absolute. We were pushed into the labor market, not for freedom, but for taxable productivity. We were given hormonal birth control to decouple us from our biological rhythm, not to liberate us, but to make us reliable for the machine. And this makes us all exhausted. It is not because we work too hard, but because we are living in a neutralized circuit. Think about a battery. If you remove the distinction between the plus and the minus, the spark dies. The battery is not broken, it is just neutralized. It has no current. We are not tired, we are dimmed. You don't need to be fair. You don't need to be equal. You need to be absolute. When you decouple from the 9-to-5 machine and return to your origin, you stop being a cog and you start being an architect. Are you ready to stop being standardized and start being electric? In my previous video, I said that feminism is a controlled sidestep. It was meant to produce more reliable workers by introducing birth control and taking over birth. It was meant to unhinge women by making them equal to a broken standard, namely men, who had already lost themselves in a loop many centuries. Let's be very clear about what I'm doing here. I'm not offering you a new lifestyle. I am not suggesting women quit your jobs, people move to a farm, focus on birth. That would just be trading one costume for another. If you hear my words and think I'm advocating for a return to the good old days, then you're still caught in the hypnosis. The past was just another layer of distortion. I am not pointing you toward a role. I am pointing you toward your original blueprint. Living as a default human doesn't have a dress code. Don't go to courses to find your inner feminine. Don't follow books or ideas about what this means. Look within. Look within. Look within. Coherence is not about what you do. It is about the frequency you do it from. I'm not here to lead you into a new cage. I am here to show you how to walk out of the cage you're in, so you can stand in your own autonomy, whatever that looks like for you. The default human doesn't follow a movement. She is the movement. Next, I will tackle larger and even more emotionally charged subjects like abortion and gender diversity. Join my Discord community to chat with us. Let's talk about abortion. But let's leave the political space behind. When we talk about life creation from the blueprint, we are talking about field management. Every woman is the architect of her own creative field. The hypnosis tells you this is a battle between rights and morality. In the default state, it is a question of coherence. To bring a life into this world is a massive, structural commitment of energy. If a woman knows in her bones that she cannot hold the coherence for that life, if the yes is not there at the level of the blueprint, then forcing that life to manifest is an act of structural distortion. But I must be honest about this. reaching a point where your life is so incoherent that ending a life force is the seemingly only coherent choice left, is in itself a sign of distortion. Using abortion as a reset button for unconscious living is a failure of the architecture. Let's name it. This is the ending of a life. It is a heavy and painful act. And let me be very clear. Those who stand on the sidelines to judge and to criticize have no standing here. Do not even dare to cast a moral stone. If you are not first putting down the groundwork to build a functioning, coherent society, if the structure is broken, you cannot blame the architect for trying to manage the rubble. In a coherent society, and let's be honest, we're not living in one, a woman would never face this alone. She would be surrounded by support, practical, financial, emotional, to see if her no is based on fear, no money, no partner, no housing, no support, or the fear of her imagined future ending, or is it a true autonomous no? The goal is that her choice is based on her internal authority, not her external terror, or a justice system where we hand over our inherent right to things that we can only solve ourselves. The default human doesn't seek rights from a government to govern her body. She is her government. She takes full sovereign responsibility for her power, both to create a field and to close a field. Stop asking the world for permission and start owning the staggering responsibility for your own life force. The gender conversation is currently the loudest noise in the public space. Why? Because it attacks the very idea of form. The blueprint, the human blueprint, is not just a feeling. It is a structure. We are all born into a biological chassis, male or female. This is the hardware. The 100-year hypnosis has tried to convince us that your software, your ego, your personality, your identity, is more real than your hardware. It tries to convince you that your emotions are more real than yourself. To try and edit the hardware because the software feels glitchy is like trying to fix a radio by breaking the antenna. Let's be precise. When you don't feel at home in your body, you are living in a wallpaper delusion. You are fixated on the walls of your prison cell. It is the same mechanism as anorexia, where someone can be starving but feel like they are fat. They are not fat. And you are not a man when you are born a woman, or a woman when you are born a man. And here's a twist. Denying your sex does not free you. It actually prevents you from finding out what you are. The truth is, we don't actually know what it means to be a man or a woman yet, because we have only seen people inhabit roles. Being a woman is not about being nice or wearing a dress. Those are just different versions of the wallpaper. You are a biological form and a unique self. There is no manual for your specific womanness or manness. It is an individual expression that can only be discovered once you inhabit the hardware fully, without the mindfuck of the social narratives. When you return to your default state, you stop trying to identify as something. You simply function as the powerful biological engine you are born with. You don't need a label when you have a function. You don't identify with your form. You inhabit it as the self. You don't need validation from the system to tell you what and who you are. Are you identifying with an emotion or a fear? Or are you inhabiting your form? we need to talk about the digital interface. Because right now your phone is not just a tool. It is a prosthetic limb for your ego. The blueprint of the human being is designed for local coherence. Your nervous system is built to sense the soil under your feet and the frequency of the person next to you. The hypnosis of the last 20 years has convinced us that connection happens on a screen. But look at the data. The more connected the software becomes, the more your hardware atrophies. We are living through digital anorexia. We are starving our biological sensors while gorging on the empty calories of digital validation. It has become easier to hide from our self-depreciating thoughts and internal noise by disappearing into a screen. Everyone knows this, but no one knows how to go back. It doesn't start with walking barefoot. I know people who force themselves to put their phones aside. They walk barefoot. They sun breathe. They eat vegan. They detox. But it is just more wallpaper. It's just another costume. Even nature can be an escape. Running 10 miles a day just to feel okay, or reading self-help books endlessly, can be just as much a mindfuck as a smartphone. It only becomes functional when you dare to face the truth of why you are escaping. I am not advocating for a digital detox. I am advocating for sensory integrity. Stop kidding yourself. When you are finally truthful to yourself, there comes a natural moment where you put your phone away, simply because it doesn't feel right in that moment. You naturally want to feel the earth. You naturally want to move. You might have to sit through a storm of uncomfortable emotions and thoughts first. You might start becoming more coherent and then fall back again into habits. But when you face yourself truthfully each time, the return to your default humanness happens automatically. Are you the architect of your attention, or is your attention the product of the system? You might have noticed that I discuss incredibly difficult subjects like feminism, abortion, gender diversity, and digital addiction, the deep architecture of the body. And yet I give no real solutions. That is exactly right. I don't give solutions because every solution is individual. No one knows what the right step is for anyone else. But as soon as a general way is explained to you and you follow it, how to eat, how to move, how to breathe, or how to meditate correctly, you have already lost. It can be alternative or spiritual. It can be the full medical system. It doesn't matter. It is all just wallpaper. The moment you follow a prescribed path, you are giving away your autonomy. You have stopped living from your blueprint and are once again busy decorating the wallpaper of your prison cell. General solutions are just another layer of the 100-year hypnosis. They are designed to keep you looking at the map instead of the terrain. I'm not here to tell you which way to walk. I am here clearing my own internal debris through honesty and through looking myself truthfully in the eye, so I can hear the internal frequency of my own inner authority. And in doing so, maybe you can see yours as well. When you are truly in your default state, you don't need a manual. You don't need a guru. You don't need a habit tracker. You simply function. My aim is not to fix me or you. It is to stop looking for fixes, so your own true nature can finally take over, automatically. Are you looking for a savior, or are you ready to be the authority? I told you I have no solutions for you, and for many of you that triggers a flicker of panic. The panic is your managed patient software, looking for a new master. We have been trained to believe that if we are not following a healing protocol or a guru's path, we are lost. But healing is often just another word for postponing or occupying yourself with more illusions of the wallpaper. When you finally stop searching for a savior and return to your own blueprint, something will happen that no one warns you about. It feels like you are breaking. This is the forensic truth. When the hardware of your body begins to eject the 100-year hypnosis, it creates construction noise. You might feel sudden exhaustion, physical pain, or a crushing internal pressure. The hypnosis tells you, you need a pill, you are sick. You need a therapist, you need a fix. The blueprint says the antenna is being straightened. Don't mess with that frequency. A healer wants to take your pain away so that you can stay comfortable in your distortion. An architect knows that you cannot renovate a building without the sound of a sledgehammer. Stop looking for a reset button and start witnessing your recalibration. You are not falling apart. You are finally vibrating at a frequency that the old wallpaper can't handle. The pain is not a sign that you are doing it wrong. It is the sound of your cage door opening. Are you brave enough to sit in the noise of your own expansion? We just talked about the construction noise of change, but we need to look closer at the noise, because pain is also a program. In the hypnosis, we use pain as a measurement. We have been trained to believe that when it doesn't hurt, it isn't real growth. We use suffering as a voucher to prove we are doing the work. This is all subconsciously, of course. Ask yourself, are you using pain to witness your own expansion because you don't trust the subtle signals of ease? Pain is a crooked currency. We use it subconsciously to get out of roles we hate, to get attention we don't know how to ask for, or to justify taking a break. We use the victim hardware to bypass the responsibility of being an architect. In the current system, paradoxically, victimhood gives you power. I used to do this too. I always used to use pain as the only tool to be able to see my own progress, my own evolving, my own growth. As if my growth wasn't valid unless it was written in the language of struggle. In the default state, growth isn't trauma, it is a function. When you are coherent, you don't need to break down to know you are changing. You don't need to pay in suffering to earn your autonomy. The most radical thing you can do is stop using pain as your metric and use the trust in self, in life. Expansion does not require a sacrifice. It just requires you to stop participating in the distortion that says it has to hurt to be true. Are you ready to grow without the proof of pain? I need to be very clear about something. There is nothing wrong with you. If you are struggling with addiction, if you are mentally unstable, if you think you are a woman or a man while you are biologically the opposite, when you experience a lot of physical pain, when you are fighting for equality, or when you read piles of self-help books and detox every time you feel overwhelmed, you are not broken. You are simply invested in a specific layer of the hypnosis. And we all are. There is no one on this planet who is fully dehypnotized. Not me. Not the famous enlightened masters like Tolle or Amma. They still experience pain. They still feel fear and worry. They still look for healing outside of themselves. We are all still wearing the wallpaper. There are no perfect examples of a default human. There is only the process of peeling. Don't use your original blueprint as another stick to hit yourself with. Don't try to achieve the default state as if it is a trophy. It is not a destination, it is a direction. Every time you catch yourself running a program, whether it is the pain program, the gender program, the savior program, you are not failing. You are just witnessing the depth of the architecture. We are all cogs in the machine until the moment we notice the teeth of the gears. Stop trying to be healed. Start being truthful about where you are currently invested. Being truthful to yourself is the only way. The peeling happens layer by layer at its own frequency. Are you ready to stop pretending you're above the hypnosis and start seeing through it?